There we go. Hey, how we doing, guys? Looks like we're live. Um, Back with another episode of Hack Nation Live. I'm your host, Aaron Bennett. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9 Central Time, I come on here and just try to help people out, answer questions, stuff like that. We're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, like always, where you can interactively hear the caller. We encourage you to call in and join the show if you have anything you want to talk about, maybe anything that we can help you out with. The number for the show is 573-422-4225. Um, Highly recommend that if you've been wanting to get a hold of me, this is the place to do it. So, see if I can put that up on the screen here. How you doing, TikTok? There we go. How we doing, guys? Again, this is an interactive show. It's a call-in show. Diesel Beast, good evening. I'm doing good. Hopefully, going to be getting some engines from you guys here soon. I found a guy in Ohio, pretty close to where you guys are. He's got 5 or 6 cats. I'm negotiating with him. Sounds like he's going to sell them all to me, getting a good deal on them. So what I'm thinking is we'll come up there and grab those and grab yours as well. We're hoping to purchase 4 or 5 engines from Worldwide Diesel, who Diesel Beast represents. Charlie Jones, thank you for that comment. I don't always feel awesome, but it's funny. My close friends all call me Aaron Awesome. It's kind of funny, but anyway, I do appreciate that comment. Again, guys, the number to call in is 573-422-4225. We had a really fun guest last week. That was Don from Duff and Diesel. We were supposed to have a special guest tonight. He ended up being busy, but he is going to come on next week. We'll have Tim from Excalibur Diesel. He's going to be on here. He's going to do the show with me next week. That should be a lot of fun. He's a really cool guy. I've got to know him pretty well the last year. I really like the guy quite a bit. I'm pretty excited to have him on. Of course, I will let everybody know later on, in the beginning of next week, that he's going to be coming on. It should be a really chill. Again, if you guys don't know what this is Hack Nation Live. I'm the host, Aaron Bennett, and we just come on here and try and help people out. It's a call-in show. You can call me, talk to me. We do have a couple callers on. I'm going to start taking them. That number is 573-422-4225. We try and help out as many people as we can. If you're watching on TikTok, we do appreciate our TikTok audience. It's where we started all this. But if you want to hear the caller, unfortunately, you got to be on Facebook or YouTube. You can't interact with the caller via TikTok. Meta or ByteDance doesn't allow that crossover like Meta does. So if you want to be more immersed in the show, highly recommend you go over there. C15 or X15. Well, they both have their merits, but the C15 has so many more merits than the X15 does. That's an easy one for me. I would take a C15 over an X15 any day of the week. What merits does the X15 have? They jake really good. They have really good power, and they get fuel mileage where it might jake good, good power. Not all of them jake good, but most of them do, but they don't get good fuel mileage. So, your X15 is going to have one leg up there, but that's pretty much the only leg up it has. The cat beats it in pretty much every other department. So, for me, I would certainly take a cat. You work on log trucks in Maine, right on, man. Okay, go into caller. Looks like we only have. Oh shit! I was gonna say we only have a caller, but there's actually quite a few. All right, we'll go ahead and take some callers here. Doesn't have a name. You got a 12-7. You're on the air, brother.
Hey, this is Jackson, Aaron,
Well,
long time listener.
yeah, what can we do for you, brother?
Hey, I know that you don't like to give recommendations on buying trucks, so I bought a truck. It's a 2008 Freightliner Cascadia with a 12.7, the 1998 on the motor. It was a tow-in. I got it for pretty cheap. It's got red coolant, got oil on the dipstick. There's no power when you turn on the key, and I'm unsure of the fuel system and was wondering if there's any uh, tips or any guidance that you could give to possibly get this thing back to life.
Well, I mean, if you're getting coolant in the oil, you most likely have a liner issue. Is it
No,
still?
no, 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 no coolant in the oil. There's in the coolant reservoir. There's red coolant, and in the on the oil dipstick, there's oil on the dipstick. So there's oil in the motor, and there's coolant in the reservoir. I've never seen it be cranked, and it doesn't have any power to the keys, so the batteries could be dead. But just
Oh,
wondering if I should pull the ECM and look at codes in that way, or do I need to get a 5-gallon bucket of diesel and pull the fuel lines to know that I'm getting fresh fuel? Change all the fuel filters and oil filters. Do a oil change. Um,
yeah. So you're just
just
you don't even
kind of
know if it starts.
correct.
Well, I mean, no one can really tell you anything until you try to start it. I mean, what's it going to hurt to try and start it? You know,
Well, I
so
the mechanic experience I have with big trucks is your show. So um,
okay, so
I was been intrigued by this mechanic thing, but just didn't have anything to turn wrenches on.
on the
And
front on
you
the
mentioned that
on the front of that engine, there's an accessory drive pulley. Um,
yes, sir.
Put a socket in a big wrench on that thing and see if you can bar that engine over. That'd be the first place I'd start. You know, if you have an engine that hasn't ran, you don't know the
Okay,
history on it, but it looks like everything's fine. Bar it over and make sure you're not going to break anything when you go to try to start it. So, um,
okay,
get up there in the front, bar it over a few times. If it bars over just fine, put some batteries on that thing and make sure it has some fuel and try to fire it up for sure.
sounds good, man.
I wouldn't go dumping. I mean, check the oil and all that, but I wouldn't go dumping any fluids in it. Sure, those need to be changed. I wouldn't go trucking on the old oil or anything, but not just to try and start it up. You don't want to put six, seven
Sounds
hundred
good
dollars into that thing before you even done anything.
for sure. How about a oil sample test? Would that be something that could be
You
telling?
you don't even know if it runs. Like you're putting the cart before the horse, right?
Right on.
So
I'll bar it over then.
yeah, I'd bar it over and try to fire it up, and if it runs, then worry about what condition it's in. You know what I mean? It might be a total
Yeah.
turd. It might be locked up. You might have a piston sideways. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
figure out what you got first. Get it
Sounds good.
get it started and call back next week. That's what I'd recommend.
Sounds good.
Uh,
Right on.
all
Will
right,
do.
all right, brother. Good
Thanks
luck.
so much for your guidance there.
Yep. Bye.
Yep.
Holy cow, we're getting a lot of calls. So probably have to burn through some of these. The QSX is a smaller engine. Pretty damn sure about that. Here's the cheeseburger. That's funny. Oh, yeah. This one of your numbers 8021954 numbers, man. The number for the show, though, And the number to call our shop is 737-204-9316, and I'll put that in the comments there. I don't want anyone to mistake this for. Sorry guys, I'll get to you on the line here in just a second here. I put a Cummins in my Chevette. It's worth it. It wants to flip the store. My wife told me we were having internet difficulties earlier today, and I kind of poo-pooed her and said didn't see. Darren, you're on the air, brother. Good, man. What can we do for you?
Good. Hey, question for you. I'm a truck dealer just north of Houston. I got about 150 trucks out on lease. I have to say, number one, I like how when you have a guy come in your shop, they know about what they're looking at when they drop it off.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of times they go in and it's 12,000, and then when they go pick it up, it's 30,000.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
It's crazy and hard to mechanics. My question is, I have a deleted piece of ISX, and I need to get it retuned. I know that you say that you can have people tune them with the ratio in the truck.
Mm-hmm.
My question is,
no, not really.
no, not really. Okay, so it has to come to you.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you could send us your
It just
ECM.
tells him. Well, you could.
Yeah, that's about the only option, and people do. We just had somebody send us one from California the other day.
Okay. I didn't think about that, but that would definitely be beneficial because I wouldn't lose 2 days and everything. Just riding down there and back. Okay, well, let me keep your number. What would I call the lady in the office to get that?
737 or if you ready to write it down. 720. Different whatever you call them, so we wouldn't lag no matter what. It's from AT&T. I'm gonna have to call them tomorrow for what's going on. I'm trying to figure it out. Give me a second here. Jesus Christ. What's this guy broadcasting on AOL? Oh, my God. Which pack car rebuild kit do you recommend? And cars. AI was the last one we did. Um, and that was a fair. That seemed to be a fair kit. You're on hold with me. Yeah, I'll answer. Sorry, man. I'm just trying to figure out this damn internet problem. If I don't figure out the internet problem, I won't be putting anybody on. Hello, you're on the air, brother. Yep.
Oh my hell! I didn't think that was going to happen, man. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. What can I do for you?
Question thousands of people probably asking, man. I've been hot shot for 3 years and just trying to graduate to a big truck and gonna haul not too heavy at the beginning, generate some skid steers and whatnot, but then I'm gonna try to stay out of the mountains. Do you have a first, I guess, engine per se instead of just a truck, but maybe a motor and drivetrain setup? Something relatively easy and cheaper to work on?
Well, boy, easier and cheaper to work on.
I know it's a rough question, but
well, that means the problem is easier and cheaper to work on. If that's your criteria, you're going to be looking at older trucks that have older engines. They're the only ones that are easier and cheaper to work on, so to speak, right? But none of them are easy if you don't know what you're doing with them, or you don't have the tooling and stuff like that. Every one of them is going to take special tooling. But the likelihood of you having problems out the gate are probably much higher if you're back getting, cheaper and easier. If you're back getting something that's from 1999 or 2001, what's the condition of the truck like, right? So you're probably going to be working on your damn truck all the time, or you could buy something with a different engine in it. Like for fuel mileage, PACCAR is going to be one of your top engines for fuel mileage. But I really wouldn't want to own one when it came time to fix it, so to speak. You know what I mean? So I really think that when guys ask me what truck they should buy, I kind of give everybody the same answer, because it's really the only answer that a guy in my position can give, or actually, in my opinion, should give, because I have no business telling people what, because I'm biased towards this engine or that engine, telling people that's the truck they should buy. You really got to look at what you're going to do with it.
Okay.
Figure out what gets the best fuel mileage. Find the a truck with the least amount of miles on it you can find, and buy something that's applicable to the job that you're doing, right? You don't need a flat top 379 Pete with 46,000 pound rear end, stretched out 310-inch wheelbase, 24/5 tires, heavy duty front end, air lockers all the way around, if you're going to haul a reefer van, right? So you got to buy the truck.
Understood.
You got to buy the truck that is applicable to the job you're going to do. Like 605 Cummins, 600 high torque Cummins is not going to get nearly the fuel mileage that a 535 economy version is going to get, unless you're pulling heavy in Montana or somewhere where there's lots of mountains. Then you'll get better fuel mileage with a 600 high torque, right? If you're running down Georgia, South Carolina, stuff like that, that 600 high torque is going to eat you alive, right? You're going to be
Right.
You're not going to find a fuel station that you're going to be willing to pass. So
yeah, that ain't gonna be easy. There's not cheap about that. So yeah, definitely not cheap about that at all.
Right. So you just some guy said it's all about the looks.
But really, just like you said, well, not really though, because it's going to pay. I mean, looks ain't everything. They're not going to get me paid more. just to have a better looking truck, I wouldn't reckon.
Right.
Like you said, it's all about the job we're doing.
All right. The thing you got to remember is that a Freightliner Columbia that you paid $16,000 for makes the exact same amount of money that a 389 Peterbilt that you paid $280,000 for. If they're doing the same job, they make the same money.
And you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But,
well, I guess it was kind of a vague, question. I just didn't know if you had any input per se, I guess just a beginner guy. You get into it and just, hey, look out for this maybe, or definitely don't go this engine or something rather, on those lines.
Right. Right. But that would just all be my biases, right? And I'm not willing to push my biases off on people. If I was going to go buy a truck, I would buy a 379 flat top with a cat in it. I mean, that's what I would buy. And it would have, I wouldn't give a shit which job I was doing with it. I would have an 18 speed with, as heavy duty 18 speed as I could get. And I would prefer to have 46,000 pound rears and I'd like it to have lockers, and I want it to be stretched out. That's what I would get, even if I was going to go haul reefer bound, because that's the kind of truck that I feel comfortable in and I know is never going to break on me, But
I appreciate your honesty. Not everybody's going to give it. Everybody's always got, oh, no, you need to get this. But hell, at least you'll sit here and say how it is.
Yep. And a couple guys are saying don't get anything with a Mercedes, but, I talk to guys all the time that love their Mercedes and get all kinds of miles out of them. So, it's same thing with PACCAR. But, don't buy a PACCAR. One of my closest friends, and a guy that I respect his opinion would adamantly disagree with you. He was on the show a couple weeks ago, and he owns a whole fleet of PACCARs, and he thinks it's the best engine, and he has a lot of reasons for it, and they're all valid reasons, right? So, I wouldn't listen to anybody. I would. When I'm looking for a truck, I'm looking to see if the torsion arms and the cross links and the drag links and the brakes and the drums and the airbags and the shocks, if all those things are clapped the fuck out on that thing, you can pretty much guarantee how that guy. Well, that guy didn't treat his engine no better.
Oh, hell no, not if it's already rolling down the road like that. It makes perfect sense. I guess that's really what the guys need to look for when buying a used truck is what you just said, instead of worrying about the damn motor.
Yep. All right, brother. Well, good luck with that, okay?
Hey, your name Aaron?
Yep.
Oh, well, hell, that's my name too, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you answering, and you have a good evening, and hopefully we'll be chatting at you some other time.
Yep. You have a good night, man.
Hey, you too. Thank you.
Bye. Yeah, the most common phone call I get throughout the week, honestly, and the girls would take these calls all day long, is people want to call me and ask me what truck to buy. And it's a question I don't even like to answer because, you really have no business telling people what truck to buy. And I try to direct people the way that I just did there is, I don't have any business telling you what truck to buy. You need to focus in on the job, the application for it, right? It's just like, I wouldn't try to use my little Toyota Tacoma to haul around a gooseneck on. I'd go get some 3,500 Dodge dually or something to haul around my gooseneck. It's the same concept, right? So don't forget the 4-foot shifter. Yeah, no joke. But for me personally, if I'm going to be driving a truck, it's going to be a Peterbilt, 100%. Maybe in a pinch, you might find me in a W900. I have owned a shit ton of W900s. I've owned more W900s than any other type of truck, but I've also owned 7 different Peterbilts, including a couple stand-up walk-around 379s that were pretty nice, but I prefer the flat top. I like a big sleeper, but I like them to be flat tops. All right, brother, you're on the air. Kevin, what can we do for you, brother?
2000 Peterbilt 6NZ. Like if you're trying to get onto the interstate or climbing a long hill, 13 speed. When you get, when you change into top gear, it kind of skips, flutters. I don't know how to explain it. For just a second, and then it's it's gone. Is that an injector problem?
Does it ever do
Turning it too hard or what?
Does it ever do it when in the lower gears if it's lugging pretty hard?
No, it never does it when it lugs. Never does it in the lower gears. It's either 11th or 12th gear when you really trying to stand on it and get some speed built or climbing a long hill. It don't do it while you're in it. It's after you let it off and change gears, and then it goes.
Does it blow white smoke?
Just kind of like I've never known it to blow. No. I mean, it's almost just like blah, 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 and then it's gone. And it don't do it every time, but most of the time, and that's probably around 1700.
Do you is 1700 the top end of where you take that thing, or?
I try not to turn it no more than that, but I am guilty of turning it more than that.
Yeah, Cat recommends 1600 to be the top, with good reason.
Yeah.
We just had a cat here 2 days ago. Broke a bunch of the injector rockers, broke the heads right off of them. I guarantee that was from having the RPMs way too high. But I mean,
yeah.
The first place to start, obviously, is to find somebody with Cat ET, not some jackass with a Snap-on scanner or something stupid like that. Find somebody with Cat ET, have them hook up to it. Obviously, Snap-on, Peterbilt, Kenworth, those type of places are going to have that. But most of your independent shops have it as well. And have somebody do an injector cutout test for sure. I mean, I don't know how much shops charge for that, but like that is a 30-minute job. I have a hard time even charging people for that because it's such an easy thing to do. If we're like slam busy and somebody just shows up in the middle of the day and needs that done or something, I might charge them for a half an hour or something. But I mean, about half the time I just tell them, don't worry about it or whatever. It's just such an easy thing to do. Just get by.
Yeah. The only other thing that I don't know that it has anything to do with it or not, but sometimes it sounds like the jakes are skipping, like they're not fully, like, when they're all working correctly, it's got a real nice sound to it. It's 3-stage. If you put on 2-stage, then it sounds stupid. It kind of sounds in between 2 and 3. I explain it that way.
What kind of? Oh, it was 6NZ.
Yeah.
If you break one of the internal nipples, plungers, whatever you want to call them, they'll break internally, and that thing in your 3406C Jake housing is, in my experience, is the most common one for that to happen to, which is most likely what that one has. All three,
and that would make it come and go.
All 3 stages will work, but as your oil gets hot, it basically they won't work. It's like you lost your jakes. But you flip through the you flip through the stages and they all work, but you don't. Basically, you have really weak. You have really weak jakes once it warms up.
Yeah, they still work. It just, with the exhaust, it's got straight pipe, so you can tell the tone and it's different. And I've played with it as far as not using them, for half the day, and then hit it and they sound crisp and clear. But then the next time, maybe for the rest of the day, they won't sound, they don't sound like they're performing correctly.
Yeah, you need to rebuild them. It's only about $150 for the rebuild kit, and you don't even got to take the jakes out of the truck. You do it right there in the truck.
Okay. All right. One last question, and I'll get off here. How backed up to get a out of frame at your shop?
Out of frames were never backed up because
we're
just geared for them, right?
Okay. Okay.
We kind of start them right away, but the process takes a while. An in-frame is going to be the fastest thing always, but there's not really a waiting list. There's a waiting list for in-frames because we can only fit 9 of them at a time. So guys are usually
Yeah.
2 to 3 weeks out to get in for an in frame. But out of frames, it's not the case. You know, it's just within the first few days, week or whatever, we get it out of the truck, and next couple days we get it stripped down, and then it's off to the machine shop or whatever we're gonna do. You know, and there might be some wait time, but not. I mean, it's always something being done to it. But it just doesn't happen overnight.
And what's the usual turnaround time for out of frame?
Just depends on how backed up we are. We're kind of caught up on out of frames right now, so I don't know, 3-4 weeks, depending on what all needs to be done to it. The last couple of months we were so covered up in out of frames, it was insane. We had 34 of them going on at the same time. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. Okay. Something to think about. I guess that's all I got for now. I want to do an out of frame, but you never know. It may come up and have to do an in frame. But
And
I'm wanting to get it out to you.
it's usually smarter to keep it in the truck if you can. It's a much more cost effective way to do it. But anyway, brother man, I highly recommend you get by and just get an ejector cutout test done. That might be where everything's coming from. But good luck with that thing, okay?
I appreciate your time.
All right, brother. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye. Are we still doing the bees? No, we're not doing the bees. I do want to get a couple hives. We're so covered up and busy all the damn time. Every time I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I got to get some bees. I have a couple numbers of guys here that I'm supposed to call and try and get a couple hives from. That'd be cool. I'd like to get a couple hives going here just to mess around. I did bring 3 55-gallon drum barrels of honey with me from North Dakota. So I'm not going to run out of honey anytime soon. I say that, but we might, because I also put a whole barrel's worth of honey into half-gallon jugs, and my old lady told me that we are almost out. We got like 3 little jugs left. So we ate a barrel of honey in the last 2 years. Holy cow. We gave some away, but not that much. All right. We have so many callers. I see a lot of comments I'd like to comment on, but there's a lot of people waiting in the queue. So we got to get to them because they're waiting in the queue. All right, Cody, you're on the air, brother. What can I do for you?
Hey, Aaron. So I got a 2005 379 Pete, and it's got a T15 VXS motor in it. We cracked number 1 and number 6 on the head, and then once we pulled it, we figured out that we washed the liner, so we went ahead and did a full in-frame kit on it. And then after we got it back together, it just kind of ran rough, so we went ahead and did a injector cutout test on it, and it showed that 3 injectors were bad. So we went ahead and got a 6-pack of injectors from Industrial Injection and threw them in, and the truck was still running kind of rough. So we changed the IVA wiring harness, thinking that maybe it was kind of messed up. We went ahead and checked the fuel pump, make sure we were getting off full pressure, about 85 PSI. And then we made sure it wasn't losing prime anywhere. So I guess the problem that we're still having is, and also we've also changed the ECM once to a different one to see if that was the issue. And we cannot figure out what's making this motor continue to run rough.
Define rough.
So between 800 and 900 RPM, it's just got a shimmy shake to it. And then when you do the cutout test, even after we put a new 6-pack in it of injectors, it's still showing on the cutout test that 1 injector is failing.
Okay.
And we swapped them from hole 3, hole 4 to make sure that it wasn't the injector, perhaps because it remanned. And it's still in hole 3.
Okay. And you changed the internal wiring harness?
Yes, for the IVAs. Both of them.
Well, the injector harness and the VVA harness are the same.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm having the same problem right now on an SDP, number 5, and the problem won't go away no matter what we do, even if we swap injectors. And we've determined that it is the injector driver on the ECM, but you guys change the ECM and your problem's still there. I don't know if you've swapped injectors and it stayed in number 5. You have to be dealing either with an injector driver on the ECM, or you're dealing with the wiring harness that you put in there is compromised somehow. It could be the external harness that you're having a problem with. Have you changed the external harness?
I have not.
Okay. Well, before I bought an ECM, I would certainly go after the external harness, because every engine that is an old ass cat could certainly use an external harness. You know what I mean? And they've come down quite a bit in price from 10 years ago. They're half of what they used to be.
Okay. The weird thing was, even when we swapped, we had another ECM for a BXS and I had the same problem. So I don't lean more towards it. I guess I should check out the external wiring harness.
Yeah, the external wiring harness. The external wiring harness, you definitely need to take a look at. Anyway, sorry, I was reading some comments and kind of got lost on what we were talking about there. But I'm having the same problem, man. But we've changed the external harness on ours, so we're down to just an injector driver, and that's where we're at with it. So I mean, you kind of already. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so would there be anything else to look at if I change the harness, check to make sure there's no cuts, breaks, anything like that, and then just go ahead and change it, and we still have the same issue? Any leads on what the next approach would be?
That new internal harness you put in is no good. It certainly wouldn't be the first time I've seen that. You know, and yeah, you also need to check to make sure the injector's set up right. The lash is is right on that injector.
Okay.
I know you can test the harness, guys, but does he have an ohm reader? Does he know how to use it? These old cats can certainly does them a favor to change the external harness. You know, if you're not on a tight budget, I'd recommend you just get an external harness anyway. They're not that expensive. They're only about double what that internal harness was. They're not bad at all. At least for me. Maybe people are paying different prices than I am, but you know, for the external harness on a 6NC, I think we're like just a hair over 400. I mean, come on, that external harness is 20 years old at this point, maybe even older.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
I'm trying.
Well, I'll get that.
All right, man. Well, you have a BXS. Okay, so I thought it was a 6NZ. You have a BXS. You can change the rear harness again if it ends up not working out. That rear harness you can buy individually from the front harness, and it's your rear harness where you're having the problem in number 5. And especially back when Cat first transitioned to having all their harnesses made down in Mexico, I got a like I damn near couldn't get a good internal harness for about a year and a half, you know. So it's certainly not unheard of to have one that's bad out of the bag.
Okay.
So, a lot of guys in the comment sections are saying you need to test the harness first and do a pinout test, which I agree with that, right? But I try to put myself in the shoes of the guy on the other end of the phone, right? Or and I just assume that you're not a shop, you don't have specialty tools, you don't have a book to guide you, you don't have cat et or whatever it might be, and you're just trying to fix it yourself. By the time you spend all the money to do all that testing, you could have bought 4 harnesses, right? If you go to some shop and have them you go to some shop and have them do all that work for you, you're going to spend more money than it would have cost you to buy a harness. I guarantee that. If you have somebody chase out all your harnesses, do all your pinout tests and all that, if they spend 2 hours working on it, they already cost you more than it costs for that external harness. So yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of comments here where guys are basically saying I'm giving you bad advice by telling you just to throw parts at it, but I don't, you know, I try to put myself in an owner operator's shoes and not in somebody's shop shoes. I'm assuming, are you a shop owner, or do you own the truck?
No, I just own a couple Pete's,
Right,
and I just try to do a lot of the work myself.
right.
Shop.
But I would buy an external harness and throw it on it and go from there for sure. It could use one anyway. It's 20 years old, right?
Yeah, 100%.
All right, man. Well, good luck with it. Call back and let me know what next week, and let me know what you found out, because I'm dealing with the same damn thing, and it's on a SDP though, a little bit more of a nightmare, but you know, same thing really.
Yeah, I will. I'll make sure once we get her figured out, and I'll get that harness ordered up. And once I get her figured out, I'll give you guys a holler and give you an update. I appreciate your time.
All right, brother. Good luck and have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay, I said buy the harness, put it on. If it doesn't work, take it back. That's actually, you cannot do that. As soon as any electronic item from Cat, Cummins, any of those guys, as soon as you open the box or open the bag, you own it. They will not take it back. Right. I mean, if you guys have followed me for any length of time, you know I'm not a proponent of throwing parts at stuff, especially throwing ECMs at stuff. And you know, I'm always complaining about other shops. You know, we get trucks in here and they all have new ECMs because every shop blames the ECM for everything, it seems like, right? And we've replaced 2 ECMs in 14 years, you know, and I totally agree with you, but you got to put everything into perspective, you know, and you're talking to a guy on the other line, and I don't want to give him the advice to go do this pinout test, and then he's $1,500 into fucking finding out he needs a new external harness. But what are your thoughts on Pro Lube? I just bought a bottle of Pro Lube. Actually, I bought a bottle of like oil from everybody, Pro Lube, Royal Purple, Schaefer's, you name it. I got a bottle of oil from everybody because I bought one of those cool ass machines like the guy from Pro Lube uses to test lubricants. And so, you know, and I get one of the most common things I get asked on this show is, what do I think about Pro Lube? I am going to find out what I think about Pro Lube, because we're going to test Pro Lube and we're going to test pretty much every petroleum product out there and see how they work on those friction testers by somebody that has no vested interest to care what the results are. So I'm going to let everybody know what I think about Pro Lube, because we're going to see how it works. Coming soon. I just got the machine yesterday, got it set up today. I'm pretty excited to try it out. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's got that pivot arm and it sits there and does the friction test on and you know, and you stack the weights. I got one of those machines. They're pretty spendy, but still excited to use it. It's going to be fun. The main reason I bought it is because I'm working with a company right now to try and come out with our own lubricant line. But I won't be testing that because we don't have anything yet. I just gave him all the specs for what I'm looking for. But I figured in the meantime, I'd start testing out everybody else's stuff like ProLube and see how it actually stacks up. Anyway, guys, take another caller here. Hello, you're on the air, brother Trey. What's going on, man?
Hey man, I got a C15 or MSX C15, and it's pissing coolant out of the overflow. We changed the air compressor and the thermostats, and it's still doing it. Loses about a gallon a day.
Mm-hmm. What engine was it again?
C15 ACERT. It's the MSX serial number.
Yeah, I mean, why are we changing compressors and stuff?
Because it's pissing coolant out of the overflow.
Right.
I don't know if that could have something to do with it or what.
So let's walk backwards real quick. Are you having to add coolant to it?
Yes, about a gallon a day.
About a gallon a day. And before it started happening and you had to start adding a gallon a day, is there any time in the last 6 months when you had to add coolant to it for any reason at all?
No, sir.
Never.
I don't believe so. Well, at least my drivers didn't tell me they did.
Okay. Did it have a tune on it?
No, sir.
Okay. So almost all overheating issues. I mean, does it overheat?
It runs about, the water temp runs about 210, and the oil temp runs about 205, 210.
Okay. So the coolant's hotter than the oil. Eesh, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're getting combustion gas in there. It's getting it hot. It's definitely a head gasket. I don't doubt that for a minute, but somebody commented that it's a head gasket. I would agree with that immediately, but I'm just really trying to figure out, if you had any kind of external event, on your cats, they don't survive external events at all. If your head wasn't ruined before, it probably is now. So
Right.
the thing you got to try to do, so you're prepared for what you're getting into, is what do I really have going on? Head gaskets don't fail independently. That's the whole thing. Somebody commented in the comment section that it's your head gasket. I would agree with that, but head gaskets don't fail independently. Your head's either cracked or you've dropped a liner or a combination of those two or something like that cause that head gasket to fail. You're not going to open it and put a head gasket on it and right away into the sunset. So, what does an external event mean? External event would be like I lost coolant, something like that. I lost the air-to-air boot and cooked the damn thing. That's what I mean by an external event. It's an event external to the build of the engine. It's just a term I use to differentiate. I built your engine or somebody built your engine and the piston flew apart because I didn't torque it down or something, right? External event would be something outside of the normal build of the engine, loss of coolant, something like that. So,
Gotcha.
I'm really talking to the comment section, just so you know. But most likely, your drivers there had something happen. That would be my guess. And this thing got overheated.
Should I just buy a new head for it and spacer plate and head gasket?
Fuck, I
and
would.
check
Man.
liner height?
I
or
would.
what?
I would. So if I were you, I would go into it expecting to do a head job and not go any deeper than that, and
Okay.
and just check the liner heights.
4. Do I need to have the deck heights checked on that? On the deck?
Well, what do you mean? Like from center of crankshaft to the deck height?
Like to see if the block is warped or anything. Do they warp on those or?
Probably not. I mean, I wouldn't worry about it. You can run a straight edge on it. That'd probably be the most I would do.
Okay. Well, hell yeah, man. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Have a good night and good luck.
You
Bye.
too.
So somebody asked in the comment section, have you ever gotten a bad head gasket? And the answer to that is never. Never. I've never gotten a bad head gasket. I've gotten ones that were bent, or something stupid that happened in shipping. If we're talking shipping related, yes, I've gotten lots of bad head gaskets. We get so much stuff shipped to us, but I've never had a failure happen on an engine ever. And then we've had failures because the head gasket was a piece of shit. It's never happened. Not to me anyway. And I know head gaskets get a bad rap. Guys, you got to go OEM on the head gasket. I can't tell you how many times guys will call me and say, hey, I was going to get an aftermarket kit. It's happened on the show several times where people say, hey, I was going to go with an aftermarket kit, but I was going to get an OEM head gasket. And it's nonsensical. There's no reason to do that. The head gaskets are not the reason head gaskets are failing. It's either a workmanship issue or some kind of external event. Some guy named Awesome is awesome. I would disagree. Could be a hole in the liner. Could pull the pan and pressure it up before removing the head. Sure, it could be a hole in the liner. That is way less likely than it being the cylinder head being the problem, especially if he has drivers in the trucks. Even if it is a hole in the liner and that proves to be the problem, you still have to remove the head anyway. But anyhow, yeah, you could pull the pan off, pressure it up. That's not really a good way to do it, though. Pulling the pan off and pressuring it up, that's not going to tell you if you have a hole in the liner, really. Those holes in the liner, typically, you're not going to see anything from that unless, one, the thermostat's open, two, a lot of times those holes in the liners are so small that they only show their face when the engine is hot and when it's combusting. So I don't think you're just going to put fucking pressure to it and find a hole in a liner. I disagree with that 100%. You're just going to be chasing your ass and not get anywhere with it. Dylan, you're on the air, brother.
Hi, Aaron. How are you?
Good, man. What can we do for you?
Well, I called you, I don't know, 6 weeks ago with that 07 with C13 in it. We pulled it apart, and what you said wasn't entirely the issue, but it was an issue. Turned out I had a couple of sensors that were bad on the engine that was causing all of the grief.
Oh, good.
But I just wanted to give you a big thank you for your insight because it gave us somewhere to look, and we've got the truck dialed in. So
awesome,
a big
man.
thank you.
Awesome. That's so much better than the alternative.
Oh, yeah. The other deal I was going to ask you here in the next week, I'm going to start trucking pretty heavy loads. I'm in Nevada right now, and it's been hitting 100 degrees daily. Is it an okay option to go with a lower temp thermostat? They got it put together to where the truck's running at operating temperature, and the fan seems to cycle an unbelievable amount. And I know you're a big fan of running it up to a little bit hotter temperature for a better combustion to avoid wet stacking. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I'm just wondering if that's like a 190 degree thermostat, because if I watch the gauge, this one seems to open up all the way up to like 210 degrees, and the fan kicks on at like 212 to 215. So it seems like it's always cycling.
Yeah, but it's probably cycling because of the AC. If your fan's cycling like nonstop, that's an AC thing going on there. Your high pressure or low pressure switch might be bad or something silly like that. But you're most likely dealing with AC is the reason it's kicking on.
Okay. And that includes even like running down the road?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Here's how you find out. Turn the AC off and see if it's still doing it all the time. And you got to give it a little bit for it to, can't turn the AC off for 1 minute and think that you did anything. You know, leave the AC off for 20, 30 minutes and see if it quits doing that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No, I'll do that. And I've got a set of gauges too. I can even just check the AC levels to make sure that it's where it should be. So it's not, you know, chasing my ass when I should be looking right down my mouth, you know?
Yep. Usually when it
All right. Anyways,
when it cycles on, is it on for a very short amount of time?
I just ran a load to Twin Falls and running up the flats. I mean, I wasn't pushing the truck too hard. After all, it is just a C13. It was running, I don't know, 65, 70, and it seemed like it would kick on and cool it down just past the threshold and then go for 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and it'd kick back on. I know I should probably blow my radiator out as well. That's my next project because it's a farm truck. It hauls hay off the fields and stuff, and there's always debris, and that's my next step after I'm done with my current project.
That's what I was getting ready to say is your air to air. You know, if it's not your AC, then I would start looking at my air to air. Your air to air will kick that fan on nonstop as well.
If it's plugged.
Yep.
Or not getting cool enough, I should say.
Yep. Your fan doesn't always come on for the coolant. It will come on for your AC and it will come on for your air. If the air intake air is coming in too hot, that fan will come on.
Okay. All right. No, and that poor truck's been through a lot. One of the sensors that we realized was screwing us up was the coolant temperature sensor that was off by like 30 degrees or 40 degrees from everything that we had observed. So this poor truck's been kicked around pretty hard. Didn't realize when it said it was at 200 degrees, it was actually at 240 degrees and boiling over and ruined the head gasket. But we got it dialed into where everything's working the way it should. So
right on, man. Well,
okay, I just wanted to give you a big thank you.
Yes, sir, and good luck with what you have left to figure out on it.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yep. Have a good night. All right, we still got another hour here. We just came to the top of that hour. Yeah, somebody in the comments said no one ever mentions checking the radiator cap when coolant's coming out of the overflow. So here at my shop, the way we would diagnose it is we would do a combustion gas test. And that's really what should be done when you're pushing coolant into the overflow. But you know, the odds of it being the coolant cap is very, very slim. But it is possible to have your cap be the problem. But really, you know, if you're a shop, you should be doing a combustion gas test anyhow if you're trying to diagnose something like that. But when the head gasket or the head cracks, the engine almost always hydrolocks when shut off. That's not true, man. It can. It certainly will. It's certainly possible, but it's not a rule. Engage fan to suck the mud out of the cooling package. Jesus Christ, dude. I don't know if that's a smart idea. Anyway, guys that are on hold, give me 1 second. We'll get to you here. Just want to scroll back. Best aftermarket kit, CAT, PAI, McBee, AFA. I use them all, guys. I'm not going to sit here and tell you one's better than the other because I haven't seen that one is better than the other. They all do a really good job. I've never taken down an engine that I had issues with or, you know, rebuilt later or something and be like, oh man, I shouldn't have used so-and-so's parts. Do I think there's room for improvement on pretty much every kit out there? Sure. I do. We've done, especially over the last 9 months or so, we've done incredible amount of research. As you guys know, we've compared everyone's products, and we are coming out with our own product line. and we do intend for it to be the best on the market. And there's a lot of steps that we put together to make sure that's going to happen. Saying, I see people asking me when we're coming out with an injector. We are this close to coming out with an injector. I was talking about our injectors today. We had to. We're coming out with injectors that have new injector bodies and a bunch of. We're kind of reinventing the wheel on injectors. We don't want people to have problems with them. Like everybody has problems with fucking cat injectors, and I want to solve that problem. So we're putting a lot of thought. We're able to look at what causes or what the main problems are in the industry. Is it liners that we're having problems with? Is it injectors and this and that? And solve those problems in advance and come out with the best product line anyone's ever seen. It's making it take a lot longer than we were hoping for. We're supposed to release something 3 months ago, but we're supposed to finally get something out. Supposed to finally have a product out here the first week of August. Should be pretty cool. Pretty excited about it. Does AFA offer different style pistons, steel, aluminum, ceramic coated? AFA doesn't offer any ceramic coated pistons, but everybody has steel and aluminum. Depends on the application, right? I don't think AFA has any specialty pistons. Like when we use a lot of monotherm pistons to get rid of the skirts and stuff. I don't know that they don't. I was talking to the owner of AFA today. I think he's a pretty good friend of mine. We went out to dinner a few times together and hung out. Really cool guy. Really, really like and respect Tony at AFA over there. Good guy, for sure. Did they have a good product? Yes. Yes, they have a good product. So do the rest of them, I'm not going to tell you AFA is better than somebody else because I don't believe that. But I also don't believe that Interstate McBee is better than AFA. So they all have pros and cons for sure. AFA tries really hard to make sure that they have a premium product. I think there's some cons with them. It's like there is with anybody else, but not any worth mentioning or making a big deal about. Head spacer plate aftermarket or OEM? I have never bought an OEM spacer plate in my life, so I can't really comment on that, but I've had great luck with the aftermarket ones. That does include the 3406Bs and Cs that has that special spacer plate. I've never had a problem with an aftermarket one ever. When are we coming out with new ISX injectors? That I don't know. N14 injectors, again, I don't know. The development side, guys, is what holds all these things up because I'm not willing to just put my name on a product that already exists and put it in a different box and try and tell everyone it's a great product. So it's taking a lot longer than I was hoping it would because we're doing a lot of testing and making sure that we're going to come out with something that when I tell people that it's the best, it's going to be the fucking best. So but we're supposed to be releasing the entire cat line here in August. Well, starting with the kits and coming, and then also filling out the line. And as soon as we get it filled out, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, we're gonna immediately follow that up with Cummins stuff, and then we'll move on to Detroit. Hopefully, before the year's over, we'll have all 3 major platforms out there. But we'll see. Anyway, go back to the callers. Larry, you're on the air, man. What can I do for you?
Hey, how you doing, Aaron?
Good. What's going on?
Quick question. I have a C12 cat. It's a 2KS is the beginning of the serial numbers. It's in an old 01 T2000 that I pull an RV with. So I'm grossing 48,000 most of the time. Number one question is oil pressure. It runs 32 pounds at about 1,300, 1,400 RPM. Is that pretty good, or you think I ought to roll the mains and rods?
We just finished a C12 yesterday. And my longtime buddy and employee Andy is doing it. And I interacted with him quite a bit on it because he's never done one before, and I've done a few. And I can't remember what oil pressure we had, but I can't remember if that's good or not. But I don't think so. I don't. Man, I should know this because I was just messing
Well,
with the C12 yesterday. But I think
I've seen online guys say they're idling at 10 pounds, which would freak me the hell out. But
no.
it idles at about 25,
Okay.
20 to 25. So that's where it's idling at, but it doesn't use any oil. I bought the truck 540,000 miles on it 15 years ago, and I put 150 on it now, and I baby it and run the rack and do all the shit that I'm supposed to do. I change the oil. I run Lucas in it. I was running Lucas in it. I had a mechanic buddy of mine in New Mexico that said it gums up the motor. Well, when we pull the valve covers off to look at everything, it looks clean as a pin. But I don't know what you feel about Lucas.
I think Lucas makes an amazing product, but it's only amazing for one reason. It's amazing because he has a patent on synthetic polymer, which allows the oil to stretch and not get cut by gears. That's the only difference between the other thickeners out there is they don't have synthetic polymer like he does because he has a patent on it. And when it goes through gear trains and all that, it just cuts it, and it doesn't take very long for it to not do what it's advertised to do. His bends, and it will keep its properties over time. Lucas Oil is a great product in what it's advertised to do, as far as that portion of it goes. But he does not have Lucas doesn't have special oil. It's not a high grade oil. It's not it's not like you're putting Amsoil in there or something like that, right? His oil, right? The problem the problem with Lucas is it's a problem masker. Right. You have bad oil consumption or something, and you start running Lucas, it's going to slow down that oil consumption, but it's not changing the fact that you're putting combustion gas into the crankcase. That's my problem with Lucas. I think Lucas is a better product to put into your, add a gallon to your transmission, add a gallon to your differentials before anyone shits the bed. I did it for 14 years, added it to all of my differentials and transmissions. And I would continue to do that if I own trucks. The way that it gets oil to gears is phenomenal. I don't think that it belongs in engines, even though I have used it in engines lots and lots of times. And in the right scenario, I probably would again. But knowing that I still need to dramatically increase my oil change intervals because my oil is getting destroyed by combustion gas.
Right. Well, this one's doing pretty good. It has a little bit of blow by in it. I've been thinking about maybe bringing it down to you here in the future and just do an end frame on it. But it's a really good motor. I've heard people bash on these C12s. So this one here, it does awesome.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with C12s. I mean, they don't.
I'm an old school. I've been driving since I was 13 years old. I'm 66 now. And I started out in a 335 Pete where you drove it by the barometer. And you had to roll out of it, you took it. And it took me a while to get used to this low RPM shit.
Yeah.
So I was 1,500, 2,100 all day long. And I tried running this Cat 1,500, 1,600 all day long, and it was using oil.
Yeah, and
so
you're on the fast track to some bent push rods as well.
Well, now tell me something, Aaron. I run down the road, like I said, I got a big old fifth wheel. If you want to ever see it, I'm one mean grandpa on TikTok. But anyway, I run 1250 all day long with this thing.
Yep.
And I have a 180 degree thermostat in it. Hurting it?
Would be.
The 182 for it, or
no.
Perfect way it's doing.
Nope.
Yeah. All right. My main concern, I don't want to take all your time. My main concern is just 32, 33 pounds.
Let me give you a suggestion. Do
Tell me.
an oil sample on it.
I've done that in the last about a year ago. I did an oil sample and it came back looking pretty good.
Yeah, that's a year ago.
Not a lot. Well, it hadn't run much. This truck sits more than it ever runs. It's a grandkid hauler.
Okay, well, if your oil sample's coming back good, then keep hauling around the grandkids. We're worried about it.
That's right. Hey, I really appreciate you and your content. I think you're doing amazing, and I wish you the best of luck in the future. And if I ever decide I want to overhaul this C12, I live in Lubbock.
Oh, okay.
It'll be down there at your shop. So I'll let you guys do it because that'll be amazing. Hey, quick question. On these 13 speeds, I can't remember. I remember we used to run mineral oil in transmissions. I know we don't do that now. But you were talking about putting Lucas in the transmission because I'm getting ready to service the transmission and the differential. And I know they have synthetic in them from like 8 years ago. What kind of oil should I put in the differential and the transmission on it?
Well, Eaton recommends that you do 40 weight, but I still do 50 weight because the 40 weight is astronomically expensive. 50 weight full synthetic, and I wouldn't worry about putting Lucas in it,
Right.
I would just put 50 weight full in it and call it a day.
Transmission and rear end?
No, your rear end needs to have 75/90 full synthetic.
Yeah. Okay. All right, brother. Well, hey, I appreciate you. I'll let you go so you can get somebody else on here. Really do appreciate you, though.
Yes, sir. Have a good. Yeah, bye. Somebody's, I can't remember what they said on TikTok there, but long short, caller and all that. You got to go watch this on Facebook or YouTube. We're streaming it live on Facebook and YouTube, just like you're on TikTok. But Metal allows us to integrate the caller and all that, and ByteDance doesn't allow us to. So we'll get. I never have much time to this show. Usually, hey, Aaron, your show's on in 30 minutes. I'm like, oh shit, there you go. So that's the best Google analysis. I don't know what the best company is. I know what the easiest one to use is, and that's Under My Hood. Amazon, they're probably the easiest, the most convenient. But I don't know who's the best. I just had Kat do analysis for me on a fuel analysis for me, because I needed somebody better than Under My Hood, and we thought we had gasoline in some diesel fuel on a truck that we overhauled. It ate up the pump, and I could have swore it had gas in it. I swore up and down it had gas in it. It smelled like gas. You light it up, and it seemed to light like gas. Sent a sample off to Cat, and they gave it back and said there's no gas. So glad I used them. Sorry, I was reading the comments, guys. The number to call the show, guys, is 573-422-4225. I'm Aaron Bennett, your host. This is Hack Nation Live. We do have 4 callers in the queue. We'll go ahead and get back to them. Eddie, you're on the air, brother. What can I do for you?
Hey, what's going on, Aaron, man? Just a genuine question. So I know you guys work with like Cummins engines and stuff like that. Do you guys mess around a lot with like CalTerm?
Yes.
So I'm a technician, and I have like I'm the most knowledgeable on the computer side in my shop, and I'm like scouring the internet and this, that, and the third, and I'm trying to find somewhere where I can learn to use CalTerm, and it's like really gatekept for whatever reason. I know a lot of people make a bunch of money off of it. That's not really what I'm into. I just want to learn it so that I know it. and that, if anything comes across, my shop, I can do what I need to do. Do you have any places that you might know of, or any, institutions that offer that kind of learning? Because I have a family member who works for Cummins as like a Cummins technician, and they don't even offer classes to Cummins technicians.
You're kind of talking to the wrong guy, because I never use it. We have it and it gets used here, but I'm not the guy using it. So I don't really know
Gotcha.
where to point you or anything like that. I use Cummins Insight quite a bit, but
Right.
that's it.
Well, I didn't know if you guys, like whenever you guys are saying tune trucks, stuff like that, if you'll go into Calterm and, manipulate like fuel tables and stuff for these trucks or whatever. So I figured it's at least worth a shot asking.
Some guy in the comment section said he's using AI to learn Calterm.
Really? Well, that might be my next move, because man, I've scoured the internet. I've tried asking a bunch of people, and nobody, like, there's a bunch of people that know how to use it, but they're like, well, let me just write your tune for you. I'm like, no, that's not what I want you to do. And and I'm like, well, can you just like lead me in the direction where you learned it? And then they're just like, no. I'm like, okay, cool, thanks for that. But okay, the AI the way it's got to be, and then AI is the way it's got to be.
Yeah, in most places, my friend, are not using that the way you think they are, where they're tuning engines properly. Most people have a pin drive, so to speak, and they're just flashing a file that they already have on there and pretending like they know what they're doing. That's 99% of them, actually.
Yeah. Well, I know how to use Calturn to to flash, ECMs, and you can also do it through Insight, like either or. But I know that part of it. The part I'm really wanting to learn is like the intricacies of it. And I know there's got to be people out there, and they've got to learn it from somewhere.
I don't know. I don't have the answer to that, man. All right.
I got you. All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yep. Have a good night.
All right. You as well.
Bye. Cal, turn your dick in the wind. What the hell? I don't understand the question, man. What do I think about the SDP? Deleted? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the SDP. They're so problematic compared to the other cats. Compared to some engines out there, current engines, there might be a better option. But the SDP is such a, it's the reason Cat stopped building engines, right? Because it's such a piece of shit. It's such a shit show. I don't recommend SDP to anybody. And somebody's commented on here earlier. I can't remember what that comment was, where he deleted the VBAs and asked how important it was to drop the compression and what would happen if he doesn't. And the answer to that is cracked out head. That's the most common thing I see as the consequence of that. I don't think Cummins is going to teach you how to hack their ECMs for tuning. I don't think so either. All right, we're going to take another caller here. Oh, whoa. What happened? God, you got to be kidding me. All right. Yeah, always something. We have a little technical problem here. I should be able to figure it out real quick. Hang on. Our call-in studio went down. What would you say a good pay for a diesel tech would be? I've been at the same place for 10 years. Man, I don't know because it's different all over the country. It depends a lot on where you're at. So, I don't know. Fuck. You hung up on me? Yeah. I didn't mean to hang up on anybody. Um, we're having a technical difficulty here. I'm trying to get it figured out. Long story short, for call-in studio, you have a set amount of money put on there, and it was supposed to up on its own, and it didn't. Seven. But I'm trying to fix it right now. Give me 1 sec, and we'll be back up and running here. I think. Don't I have? Don't tell me you have the max force of switchboards. Pretty much. This fucking piece of shit. Add funds. I don't know why it's having a hard time letting me add funds here. Let me try one more time. Then if it doesn't work, I'm gonna have to run and get my wallet. Oh, it looks like it's gonna let me do it. Yay. There we go. And I should still have the collars, I think. Maybe not. But I'm back in. Give me 1 sec. Oh, yep. I do still have collars. Okay. See if it's working. Hello, you're on there. Hello. Return to queue. Oh, okay. I gotta do this. Hang on. I promise I'm gonna get it up and going again. 563.
Thank you for calling Call-In Studios host and call screener line. Please enter your show or meeting number. Enter your 6-digit PIN number. Welcome, host.
There we
You are
go.
now in the host room and can manage your callers from the call-in studio web interface.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yep. Finally fixed it.
Yeah, I hear you now.
What can I do for you, brother?
So I got to come in. It's X15. I got it in Phoenix, Arizona right now. They're telling me I just need a head gasket. But when I heard you talking earlier about if a head gasket though, it's more likely something internally.
Yeah. I mean it's not like it's not like it's impossible for a head gasket to fail independently, but the only time I have ever seen a head gasket fail ever is number one, an installation error, right?
Yeah.
Some kind of external event like coolant loss, bad tune, overheating it somehow, or you have a liner drop.
So mine was the overheating issue, and they told me it was my EGR. They want to keep that out too. I don't know if that causes overheating. I never had that. That's what they told me what my main issue was with the EGR valve.
Okay.
Failed, and that's what caused it to overheat.
Okay, but if it's overheated, then it probably has compromised the cylinder head.
That's what I was afraid of. And I wanted you to work on my motor, so I'm trying to figure out like how to get my truck. If there was anywhere like rent like a piggyback, because I've done towing before, and just try to get back to your stuff. I drove today, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my only question. Hoping I could rent like a piggyback, or you know some places that rent piggyback. You hook onto a tractor trailer
It can't be,
or to a tractor.
it can't be driven.
It was still driving when I drove it into Kenware, to be honest with you, but it was overheating, but it wasn't going to where it was like shutting the truck down. It would get like to 210, 215, and I didn't want it to get any hotter than that, so then I just put it into the you know what I mean? 'Cause I think I was messaging your son trying to figure out down in Phoenix that taking the job where it could be an option of me driving it back without any kind of load on it, so it wouldn't get as hot.
Huh?
But do you think I'll make it back to San Antonio?
I mean, that's not quite an answer, man.
Yeah, that's
But
a lot of people tell me that.
But if it was my own truck, I would probably drive it. I'd run the fan the whole time and just keep an eye on it.
Okay, man. I'm from San Antonio. I was watching stuff on YouTube and TikTok, so I want to take my truck over there and let you work on it. I know you give me a better idea and not try to poke my eyes out.
Sure. Well, good luck with it, brother.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks for your help.
Yep. Have a good night. Several people are asking what the number to call in is. We're getting a little late in the show, but I'll give it out anyway. It's 573-422-4225. That's the number to call in. 573-422-4225. Larry, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Yeah, so I've got a 2005 W900 with a Coolant. I'm usually running around 30 to 40,000 pounds or 60 to 75,000 pounds. I just had a new transmission put in at Peterbilt. the transmission that was originally in it, I got like about $1.2 million out of it. And then now in the last 600,000 miles, I put 3 different transmissions in it. And they all are doing the same thing. When I'm split from low to high, they're like grinding into high range.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually they'll start grinding high range to low range and low range to high range.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, what's causing this to happen to all these transmissions? You think so? What would I be doing that would be causing that?
Yeah, I know so. And I'm, I just got to spare your feelings here, right? I don't know you from.
No, you're not gonna offend me.
Most likely, you're destroying the servo, right? Your back box is what's
synchronizer.
taken, right? Your synchro, not servo, your synchro, right? Your synchro is what you're destroying. And most likely the way you're doing that is you're going from the high side to the low side above 15 miles an hour. Like when you're coming to a stop, you're putting it in the low side and you're still going way too fast, 25, 30 miles an hour.
Okay.
I almost bet.
So it wouldn't have anything. Well, it's the same truck, and I actually went. The original transmission was a 9/13. It had the thing put on it after, and then I had 2 more transmissions put in it that were identical. One lasted 3 years. One lasted like 1.5 years. This one right here, I spent the money to upgrade to a full-blown 13 straight from Eaton, brand new, and I've gotten 1 year out of it, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if it might have been. I mean, I believe it could be me, but I don't think I'm doing what you're saying. Generally, as a rule, I don't downshift from high to low until I'm pretty slow.
Right. So
I mean, it's under warranty. I'm going to take it into Peterbilt, but it just didn't make any sense that in less than 50,000 miles, this would happen on a brand new transmission.
So I have to draw from this experience, okay? And this experience would be having about 120 different drivers over 14 plus years, okay? And that's the nature of trucking. I did have drivers that rolled 10 years with me and several that rolled 7-8 years with me, but truckers, the grass is always greener. So you're going to go through a lot of truckers if you own 23, 25 trucks. It's just the way it works. And the number one destroyer of transmissions in my fleet was always shifting from the high side to the low side, going way too fast. And that too fast is anything above 15 miles an hour. And 15 miles an hour is really slow. And when you're coming up to a stop sign and you've shifted down and you take it out of gear and you're coming to a stop, you're almost without exception going faster than 15 miles an hour. And everybody will put it in the low side because they're it's just what they do. They're impatient. So I had to try and break that on so many guys that drove for me, and we would have meetings about it and we would talk about it and I would bitch at guys about it and this and that. But if you're taking out the synchro over and over and over again, I almost guarantee it is from you putting it into the low side when you're going too fast. Because it's on repeat. You're doing it over and over again, right?
Well, I thought it might have been the fact that they might be using cheaper parts, or because with the original transmission, I wasn't doing any heavy hauling at all. Now that I'm doing some bigger stuff, 60 to 75,000 pound stuff,
you got to look at what
it started happening.
You got to look at what's going out on it, right? You're not breaking teeth, you're not ruining gears, so obviously you know how to shift. It's just your high to low, your synchro that's going out, and that is almost exclusively done by the driver.
Okay. Can I ask one other question?
Mm-hmm.
So this motor in here, it's a Cummins ISX 870. I've got 1,820,000 miles on it. I did my end frame about 600,000 miles ago. Should I be concerned looking at anything other than doing like an oil sample every once in a while? Somebody had said something about dropping the pan and looking at the rods or mains.
You can do that with an oil sample.
Main bearings.
The oil sample is going to tell you.
That's what I thought.
Yep, 100%.
If you got different metals. One other thing, these are the original. As far as I know, I haven't changed them, and I've had the truck for $1,500,000. The injectors, are these injectors able? Can I send these injectors out to a company and have them rebuild my specific injector?
Yep. Highway and heavy parts.
Because I mean, they, as far as I know, you do what?
I have highway and heavy parts do that for me all the time.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yep.
And is that the route you would go with an injector that you are almost positive is an original injector?
No, I'll just get new ones.
Okay. New from Cummins or new from whoever, or because I thought you said most all of them are all rebuilt by now.
They are, so I would just get it from aftermarket because it's no different than buying them from Cummins, in my opinion, except for if you have a failure with Cummins, take a year to for them to honor the warranty. They probably will, but it's a hell of a process. I still don't deal with them.
So what kind of time frame would I be? I live in Houston. What kind of time frame would I be looking at if I brought my truck down to have you?
I don't know, brother. You have to call. You have to call the office for that. Okay.
Call the shop.
Yeah, call the shop. I try not to talk about that.
All right.
Stuff
Thank you, Aaron.
All right, sir.
Thanks for being honest too.
Yeah. Have a good night, man. Good luck. Are we rebuilding Pretty Peter 48's engine? I did see like hundreds of people tag me in her video on Facebook there. But no, she, as far as I know, she hasn't reached out to us. She may have. The girls field a lot of calls here that that I don't even talk to the people. So it's possible, but I don't think so. I'm pretty sure she hasn't reached us. I would certainly give her some ideas of the phone. She did, but she had so that I know of. Anyhow, go ahead and take another caller here. Arthur, hello.
Yes, sir. How you doing, man?
Good, man. What can I do for you?
Real quick, so you can discard my question in the chat too. I was asking, when you guys break in your motors after a rebuild, do you break in every motor has to be done the same way, or are they done different? Right. Last and that was earlier you were talking about oil additives. I talked to you about this last week, and I heard gas, combustion gas getting into the crankcase.
Yes.
So just say after, you do a full rebuild, I know you don't recommend Lucas, right? I mean, synthetic right off the back. You want to go 10, 20,000 miles of regular oil. After that process, and you go to full synthetic oil, I talked to you about AMSOIL last week.
Mm-hmm.
Does it make sense to add Lucas to that?
No.
Because if you do that, it does not make sense to do it, to add Lucas to a full synthetic after a rebuild.
Lucas has its place in this world. I do believe that.
Mm-hmm.
And all of his products are like little miracles in a bottle, like his power steering fluid and all that. But all of them have a common denominator, and that is the synthetic polymer that is put into it. But his product itself, if you took the synthetic polymer out of it, he would have just regular old conventional oils. I mean, and you're really taking like a 90 weight oil and dumping it in your oil, and you're thickening your oil up, and then you're suspending synthetic polymers. It works good, right? The problem I have with Lucas is it's not something that you need to have in your engine, right? You have
Okay.
millions of counter examples of engines that have never had Lucas in them, and they weren't falling apart because they didn't have Lucas,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then,
Mm-hmm.
but Lucas is a band-aid, like somebody just said in the comment, for a problem,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't do anything for the problem, but it can get you some extra life out of your stuff. That's a fact. It does make oil go to places where it should be. Not doing anything for the fact guys are using control blow-by problem, and blow-by is combustion gas going into the crankcase, which is degrading your oil, which is tearing the shit out of the rest of your engine, right? And it band-aids that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem with it.
So I do understand that, because I understand that. I understood what you meant by it's masking a problem. My question is, if you use it after a new rebuild in synthetic oil, does that keep you from being able to find out that that problem is actually happening?
Right, exactly. And synthetic oil is the best product. You know, it's going to be the best product on the market. Why would you dilute down the best product with regular old Lucas oil that's not special in its own right? Maybe if you're going to do anything, you know, Lucas does make a synthetic oil additive that is exact same as their regular one, but it's full synthetic. Use that one. In fact, I switched to their full synthetic Lucas when I switched to full synthetic in Alaska because I was still putting a gallon. I was a big believer in Lucas back in the day, and I'm not one now. I just think it has its place, and it's not its place is not masking blow by issues, which is what everybody uses it for.
No. Yeah, no, I understand that. My main thing was just asking more so, like, on a new overhaul,
I wouldn't.
Would it help extend it?
No.
The new overhaul, if you add it after 30,000 miles
No.
to your oil changes with full synthetic. Okay, I got you. And if it starts happening, combustion gas is getting into the crankcase, you would never know because the Lucas is in the system.
Sure. I think
Okay.
I think you're
I just want to make sure I understood that.
Yeah, you're just wasting your money.
Okay. All right, sir. Appreciate it, man. I was good as always talking with you. I'll be talking with you.
Yep. Have a good night, man.
You too.
Bye. Yeah, Lucas is a life extender, not a start to finish product. I would agree with that statement. If you don't want to hear the caller, go to TikTok. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you're watching on TikTok and you want to hear the caller, you want to know what's going on, come over to Facebook or YouTube. It's streaming live. You can hear the caller. It's a much more interactive experience. For sure. What are you doing about the lack of parts qualities these days? I don't believe there's a lack of parts qualities. I use parts from pretty much every manufacturer out there, including OEM, and I don't see this inherent quality problem with parts. I'm not seeing it. I don't even believe it exists personally. We never see a part that's bad out of the box. It happens, but it is not a rule. It is certainly not expected. So, Ivan, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
So I'm a big fan here. Appreciate you taking my call. Got some simple questions for you. I have always been told I got a C15 MBN. I have always been told 11 gallons. How many gallons of oil does that engine take?
Well, according to Cat, my friend, every one of them can possibly be different, and it should be checked and measured and determined per engine. But the rule of thumb for Cat engines is 10 gallons. Sorry, 95% of them take 10 gallons. That's going to right to the full mark, almost without exception, every single time. But I personally owned trucks that took less. I had 2 trucks that at 9 gallons, they wouldn't. You were a gallon over full if you put 10 in it. And I've had ones that were 10 and a half. But 10 is pretty much your rule of thumb.
You going by the dipstick, by the marks? That's how you know that it took 9 gallons, or how did you know that it took 9 gallons?
Because I have a counting machine that tells me exactly how much oil I put in stuff.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to go with 10 gallons because, yeah, that's what I've been reading lately on some threads. And I was doing 11. I might just read. Okay. Now, what happens if over several years you've been overfilling with an extra gallon that engine? Is there any consequence to that?
Probably not, but overfilling it's not that great. You're in danger of the crank slapping into the oil and stuff like that, especially when you're pulling a hill or something. But most likely not. Most likely no big deal.
Okay. Second question. A guy was talking. I guess you were talking about some radiator caps. What's the recommended PSI radiator cap for MBN?
Oh God,
Well,
I can't.
What is it?
I can't remember, man.
Oh my Lord!
I can't remember what the PSI is.
The difference on your boiling point, right? If you get either a 10, I can't hold for 16. I think some people just play it safe with a 12 or a 10. So I want to get your input on that one.
I can't remember off the top of my head. I think I want to say it's 10.
10?
But don't. How about I don't want to say anything because I don't remember.
Okay, if you get a note somewhere around there from some people, just mention it, and then I'll just read it. Last question. Well, I got 2 more.
Yeah.
Where's Charlie? Before the last one.
Where's Charlie tonight with the book? Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, my coolant temperature gauge on the dash reads different than the ECM. 10 degrees hotter, but I know the ECM is 10 degrees, and I go by that, and I see my gauge here. Can it be a ground issue on the wiring,
They're totally different spots on the engine, and your ECM should be reading hotter than the one on the dash.
Oh, so I mean, okay.
One is
does the
pre-thermostat and one is post-thermostat.
Was hotter than the one on the dash?
Typically.
Okay. Does the engine need to be grounded? Like there's something, because I was reading that.
Yes.
Okay.
It needs to be grounded to the chassis.
Okay. To the chassis. Is there a specific cable or it just goes by the bolts?
Yeah, you can just use a normal battery cable.
And just attach it to any bolt of the engine and toward the frame or something?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I think that's my issue because I've been messing with that gauge and I put some cables in it with some ground and it fluctuates. But okay. I'm an over-the-road driver. I go all across the country, heavy, kind of heavy all the time. I got 355s right now on my rear end. And I'm really thinking I'm going to 336s just because I want to drop those RPMs. Would you recommend 336 over 355 over the road across the country?
I don't know, man. It's like asking me what truck to buy. I don't know what you know what I mean? Yeah, I think you should do whatever you think is going to work best for you.
Doing 70, which is pretty much the average speed on any interstate. My RPMs are 1600, almost 70. If I do 72, I'll be at 1650, somewhere around there. And I got all the power. I got 625 horsepower. And I know I can do good if I just run this engine at 1500 RPMs, even lower than that. I still got a pull. I was thinking on just switching to 336.
Yeah, that thing.
And that was just like
that engine uses astronomically more fuel for every RPM that you're above 1300.
Yeah. Oh, you don't need to tell me that one. Okay.
Your fuel consumption from 1400 to 1600 is mind-boggling on that engine.
Gotcha. It's possible MBN. I know once it gets overhauled, you can do all the 6 and C stuff. Is it possible without doing just the flash and the ECM, without just throwing a C16 program in it, which is what you don't like, which you recommend? Is it possible to make this engine a C16, a true C16?
I mean, yeah, if you got a lot of money.
There's injectors, and I don't know if your cam sensor, I don't know, but I don't know. I know you mentioned a lot using replace injectors, and maybe
there's a lot different. I mean, I wouldn't even.
Okay.
I wouldn't even attempt it.
Okay, because yeah, and it does not have the whole programming. I don't even want to do that. I just want to see if it's possible to do a true C16 with this block later on down the road.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, appreciate your time.
All right, man.
Go ahead.
Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Bless you.
Couple of questions in the comments real quick before we get to these other two callers. Is the repair market saturated, or is there a lot of work to go around? That depends, in my opinion. It is pretty saturated. Like here in the area we're in, there is so many shops, it's mind-boggling. It's not saturated for shops with good reputations, though, and that's pretty much true for every state. You see guys that are covered up in work, and they don't know what they're going to do about having all the work that they have. And because it's saturated with shops in our industry, but it's really hard to find a shop that's going to do a good job and behind their work. So the good shops are drowned despite the fact that it's saturated. What's the going rate for yield on a Cat C50? Nationwide, I believe it's right around the mid 30s to the low 40s. And there's one more I wanted to. It's not what it is at our shop, and it's not what it is at every shop. Your typical in-frame here at our shop is probably going to run you somewhere between 15 and 18, I would guess. Overhaul price for a big cam, $350. And that's one of the least expensive engines out there to work on. That one would probably be, in the 1,500 range or something like that, I would guess. But do you believe in high idling overnight? Absolutely. You should always have your truck idled up when it's idling. Never just let it sit there at a dead idle, in my opinion. All right, Ray, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
I appreciate it. I just put injector cups in a C15 Acert, and I did plenty of flushes, but I've still got residual fuel in the radiator. Is that going to hurt anything?
No, it's not going to hurt anything. It doesn't help anything either. What I would recommend is and you can find this at your Peterbilt, your Kenworths, your Freightliners. Get Restore. It's made by Fleetguard. And run Restore in it, and it'll get rid of all that.
Okay. Like I said, I can still smell fuel in the radiator, and I just can't get. I've flushed it several times, and it's still there. So, I was told it wasn't going to hurt anything, but I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah.
So
that was
my only question.
Yeah,
so,
run Restore in it, and you might have to do it twice, but I doubt it. That stuff's badass.
Okay.
All right, brother. Good.
All right, I appreciate it. That was my only question. Thank you.
Bye. The comment section over here. That guy said he had a 620 MN. Yes, he did that, and I decided to let it go. Yeah, next week I'm gonna run a freaking Ethernet cable from our internet box straight to this thing, and hopefully get rid of this laggy, crappy problem. Charlie, I see you're in the comments section. Good to see you, buddy. We were looking for you earlier. We needed your help, but you weren't here. Or maybe you were here and you were just hiding, but good to see you. We're supposed to have Tim from Excalibur on here next week. That should be a good show. He was going to come on this week, and he gave me a call last night and said, "Hey, man, I got a lot going on. I'll have to reschedule for next week." So we'll see him here next week. Again, that should be a lot of fun. I really like Tim. I know we play on social media that we don't like each other, but we actually talk quite a bit. Have each other's numbers. He called me last night, I believe, and a couple nights ago as well. He's a really cool guy. I really liked him. I'm really excited about having him here on the show. Should be a really good time. Got to get this damn internet thing figured out, though, before I have him on. I think it's laggy with just me having a co-host in another state or really mess this thing up. But why does my deleted Acert engine blow black smoke, but only when I start it hot? Some of the questions I don't know, brother. Is it burning the fuel? Hello, you're on the air, brother. I don't see a name for you, so.
Hello?
Yes, sir. That's you.
Okay, this is for your guest. I was wondering, I know it's common to cut the lower bores on the cat motors. I was just wondering if he has ever done any Detroits, the 60 series.
Oh, yeah.
I've never heard anybody doing them before.
Yep, we do them all.
They do the 60 series?
Mm-hmm.
I've often asked about it, but never heard of anybody cutting them before.
Yep, we do a lot of the Cummins ISXs as well.
Okay, another thing on the C15 head, where the rocker shafts sit down in the bore there, I had one that was a relatively new head, and somebody had left one of the bolts loose, and it kind of chaffed up the end of it. Is that repairable?
Your rocker shaft?
Well, yeah, you know where it sits in the bore on the C15 head.
Yeah,
it's one of the bolts.
I don't know of any way to repair that saddle.
Well, that saddle that's not repairable?
Not that I know of. Outside of getting a new head, no.
Yeah. Okay. That was my other question. It was a relatively new head, and apparently the bolt must have worked loose, or somebody left it loose, and it kind of chapped the one end up a little bit. And I put a new head on. I didn't think it was usable, so I didn't know if that was repairable or not.
It's only nuts and bolts. Lock it down and pretend it never happened.
Yeah.
That was
no, I did that one time. I did that on a 60 series one time and didn't pay too much attention to it and put new shafts on it. And it ended up snapping one of them in half because it was so far off.
Yep.
So I learned my lesson on that one.
Yep.
But okay, well, that's all I had. I appreciate your time, and I like what you're doing out there.
All right, sir. Thank you for that. And you have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. We only got one more caller, but we are here at the end of the show. So, no, Duff and Diesel couldn't fix that saddle. It's just the nature of the half curve there. Yeah, I don't think anybody can fix that. Just out of curiosity, where were you at when you were in North Dakota? We were in Ross, North Dakota, which is it's right by Stanley. It's right between Minot and Williston. If if you want to hear about ProLube. So everybody's always so 2 more comments on ProLube. Everybody wants to know what I think about ProLube. Every show, somebody asks me about ProLube. I've had people call me and ask me about ProLube. So just so you guys know, I bought some ProLube. I have it here at the shop, and I own one of those machines, the same one that ProLube has for testing oils and all of that. I also bought everybody's oil, Schaefer's, Royal Purple, you name it. I got Yellow. I got a quart of everybody's oil on planet Earth, and here soon, next week or so, I'm gonna make a bunch of videos testing out all that oil, and I'm gonna let everybody know how ProLube actually stands up. I personally think those videos he makes, I personally think they're bullshit. 100% believe that they're bullshit, but we will find out. Maybe they're not. Maybe ProLube is as amazing as he makes it out to be. That head is repairable. I don't think that head is repairable, brother man. I don't know of any tool that can cut that tooling, that grooving down in there, and then how would you bring it back up to height? So you saying that head is repairable doesn't make it repairable. I don't know of any way that you could possibly do that. As an owner of 2 high mileage trucks, I'm wondering when we can expect your oil product. Pretty excited for that. Well, now this is all just in the work. I am currently working with AMSOIL to try and come up with a petroleum product that is much lower than their price point. So it's available for the common person to use as a regular use oil, but I want something that outperforms every oil on the market. And they think they can make that happen for me. So we're in negotiations on that. That's actually why I bought the oil testing machine, because I want them to send me some samples and I want to test it against other oils and test it against itself, like I've tested everything else that we're planning on selling. Of course, we have independent places that have tested all the products that we're planning on releasing, and I've got to watch some of that testing. It's really cool. But I've been buying, I bought that Rockwell hardness tester and all that kind of stuff, and hired guys to come here and test stuff here in house because I want to see it for myself. I want to know for a fact. People trust me; they trust my opinion. I don't want to let anybody down. It's very important to me not to let anybody down. We were supposed to release the kits 3 months ago, and the owner of Highway and Heavy Parts is really kindred spirit with me on this kind of stuff. So we were supposed to release quite a while ago, and between the two of us, we've put so many delays on it because we both have agreed that it's a one-time deal, man. When we first release a kit here, yeah, you're gonna have all these guys that have been dealing with parts their whole lives, and they're gonna know. They're gonna know if we're selling a shitty product, and we want everyone to just know right out the gate, this is the new standard. This is the new standard. So it's put a lot of delays on it. So we should have our first product line available to everybody the first week of August. So very soon, just a couple weeks from now. Do your sons work on smaller diesel engines? No, they don't work on, or actually, I don't know if they do. I know that they work on their own diesel engines. We work on smaller diesel engines, with 4-cylinder stuff like that, but they have to be in an industrial application where you're not going to bring your pickup here. In other words, right? We do medium duty engines and stuff like that. I did have one more caller. I kind of forgot about him. Hey, man, you're on the air. What can we do for you?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm just calling. So I have a C10 Caterpillar. It's a 04 357 Peterbilt dump truck, and I pretty much just using oil pretty good. About a gallon a week, and I do have I guess the manifold. You can see where the oil is not really draining out too bad, but you can see, I don't know if it's the oil ring or whatever it is. Must be that last cylinder. you can see on the block where the oil at. So I'm guessing, like I said, it's about 500,000 miles on it. What's your opinion about the C10? Like I said, I'll probably do it in frame when it's time to do a rebuild. What's your opinion about the C10 Caterpillars? How you feel about those engines?
Well, I don't know. We've rebuilt quite a few of them here, actually. Everybody always says they're just throwaway engines, but we've rebuilt several of them successfully. I don't see any problem with them.
Okay. All right. Well, just simple question, man. I was just, like I said, I probably was going to go to like a C12, and I know it's not a big difference in the C10s and the C12. I believe it's like horsepower difference.
It's vastly more affordable just to fix your C10.
Okay, cool. That's what I'm gonna do there. Yeah.
All right, brother.
All right. Yeah, I was keeping it plain and simple, man. Appreciate you.
Good luck, man. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Okay, I do want to spend a few more minutes in the comments here. The show is technically over, but that's okay. We've got a lot of people commenting. I do have one more caller that just called in. I'm not going to take any more calls. I will take this one really quick. And that will be it for tonight. Mike, you're on the air, brother. What can I do for you?
Love the show, man. I'll make this quick as possible. How much is the cost for complete DD15 swap it to a 60 series on a Freightliner?
I mean, you'd have to clarify. Is that including the engine, or just you have the engines and you're just trying to get somebody to swap it?
Including the engine. Including the engine, it's got a 10-speeder currently manual, so I don't know if that also needs to be swapped or whatnot.
Well, so the first thing that guys never think about is just the cost of doing the swap. So you're going to be dealing with somebody like Custom Truck. You're going to be into that thing somewhere between 12 and 14,000 just in shit to make it work. And then by the time you get it all said and done, you need to add in another 1 to 2,000 just in random shit to make the one engine work where the other one was. It's a shit show. So you're going to figure 14,000 and then the labor to do it plus an engine. So if you got it done for, you're going to be into the high 60s, mid 70s, somewhere in there.
Got it. Okay, appreciate it, brother. Love the show, man. Love the show. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Have a good night. Bye. The most common call that we get here at the shop, other than what truck should I buy, is how much is it to swap X to X? And boy, we sure talk a lot of people out of doing it. And it's such a huge project too. It's not like it's going to happen in 4 weeks. Want to burn? Not one time have I heard anyone ask what their regular maintenance is. What about lash adjustment every 2,000 hours? Want to burn oil? Don't adjust the lash. Want to lose power? Don't adjust the lash. Burn fuel? Don't adjust the lash. Carbon stack, like you say, the big killer of engines. Why does it happen? Lash adjustment. That's why. Man, you say a lot of stuff, Jason, that I don't agree with. I not that I don't agree with doing valve adjustments. I do agree with that, but I don't agree with the symptoms you're saying go along with that. You can buy a long block DD16 for 24,000. 3/4 of the engine for 28. Worldwide Diesel is a great place to buy a long block. You can get one for actually about that. Maybe even a little less from them. That's where we go to buy our long block DD15s as well. Worldwide's always on the feed there and on the TikTok. Great guy, great company. Diesel Beast is his name on there. Then you have Joseph. He's the actual Worldwide Diesel account holder. Great guys over there. Prove me wrong. Jason says, I don't have to prove you wrong, man. This is my show. I'll do whatever I want. I didn't agree with probably half the things you said tonight, but you're more than welcome to come here and say those things. We want the people in the comment section to help out as much as possible. Like Charlie's in the comment section. I always appreciate when he shows up. Hopefully he'll come back on and do the show with me soon. Man, that phone is going off. Are you drunk? Are you talking to me? No, I'm not drunk, but I did work all day. I stay up late. I am tired. Yeah, hopefully Charlie will come on and do a show with us again. I agree. Charlie's awesome. He's great. I consider him a good friend of mine. We used to be neighbors there in North Dakota. We had shops. At one time, we had shops within stone's throw of each other. And then he moved about 7 miles away, but we were always close to each other there in Stanley, North Dakota. And he came on a couple weeks ago. That was a really good time. But next week we're going to have Tim from Excalibur Diesel on here. I'm sure you all know him. If you don't, you can go follow him on TikTok. He is on Facebook as well, but I think his name on there is Tim Defane. He doesn't have it as Excalibur on there. But on TikTok, he's Excalibur Diesel. He's amazing engine builder, one of the best in the United States, in my opinion. So it's going to be a real pleasure having him on. Should be a lot of fun. How long does your shop take to do a platinum rebuild on a C15 Acert? We tell everyone 10 to 12 days in the shop. Obviously, it could be longer, but that is the average turnaround time. Looking forward to next week with Tim. Yeah, me too. Got to have you guys on here someday as well. Need to talk about that. And yeah, speaking of worldwide diesel, let me know tomorrow on those CAT engines, because I found 5 CAT engines in Ohio. We're probably going to go pick them up. And if we do, we'll swing by and pick up those engines from you as well. I'm just waiting to see what you guys have for a shipping quote to us. Maybe we'll do that instead. Jason, you keep suggesting that you come on the show with me. You're very confrontational with me. I don't know why I would want to have you on this show. Just so you can argue with me. That doesn't seem like a fun time. Not that I have a problem with people disagreeing with me. But I certainly wouldn't want to make a show out of seeing whose wiener's longer than the other person's. Your wiener's longer than mine. You win. What's your opinion on the new workers that are trying to get into the workforce nowadays? They need to stop going to public school. That's my opinion. It's not doing any of them any favors. Have you ever worked on the Max Force? No, I've never worked on a Max Force, thank God. A lot of people brought them here asking me to. I'm just not interested. It's amazing that most people have no idea what the lash is for. Are oil flushes recommended? I mean, yeah, I don't think anybody recommends oil flushes. Maybe some people. Changing your oil is recommended. 1LW cat with a miss only when the engine brake is on high. Any ideas? You might have to call in next week on that one, brother, and explain it a little bit more. Is it worth it to start a trucking company nowadays? I don't think it's any more or less worth it now than it's ever been. In my opinion, the trucking industry is hard. It's always been hard. It's insane how many people go under, and it's absolutely mind-boggling how many people have went out of business in the trucking industry in the last year and a half. It is a staggering amount of people that got into it during COVID, rode that out, and and then when the harder times came because the over the road post COVID boom went away, those guys went out of business like crazy. So the key factor to starting a trucking company revolves entirely around having a niche in the market where you're hauling, and getting a truck and jumping on the load boards, that ain't it. It might work out in certain times, like post COVID when it worked out for so many people, but you see the end result of that, an astronomical, unprecedented amount of people went under. So that's not what the problem with trucking is people see trucking has a high velocity, really high velocity of income. It's money that's going through your hand, and but that's what people don't get. It's going through your hand. It's not going into your pocket. So people are like, "Oh man, I make $30,000 a month," but no, you don't. You don't. It's people that can't math good. They're not. They're not focusing in on their disposable income. I had more disposable income when I had one truck and ran it as an owner operator than I had with 11 trucks 2 years later. I had more disposable income with one truck than I had with 11. I didn't start to come around to more disposable income with more trucks until I reached 15 trucks and was running 23 with my leasers. Then I started to see it go the other way. And that was with some really solid contracts, guys. The most money you can make in trucking, almost without exception, until you get to this breakaway point, is one truck, you drive it, and you don't have any drivers, and you be smart about what you're hauling, and it's not the factor isn't um how much you're making always. Consistency will beat amount 9 out of 10 times. It's not always the case, but most of the time it's the case. The main reason that you get your ass handed to you in trucking is because it goes like this. So, yeah, you found this job that's paying you really, really well, but nothing in trucking seems to last. And you have this other job over here that pays in the middle, but it is consistent. You're better off almost every time locking onto that consistent thing that pays you a good rate consistently rather than chasing these things that pay really well and then you're sitting on your ass, and it pays really well and you're sitting on your ass. And somebody in the comments just called me a shit-eating queer. Okay. Oh, it's the same guy. This guy keeps showing up. This Iron Mike Sharp guy has been threatening me on Facebook. He keeps saying if I show up in his feed one more time, he's going to come here and beat me up. Do you know how you keep people from showing up in your feed, retard? You block them. That's how you do that. God damn, people are childish. What is your overall thoughts on the big, beautiful bill? My thoughts on the big, beautiful bill are probably closer to Elon Musk than they are to Donald Trump's. The big, beautiful bill is just more debt slavery for the United States, and it's just more pandering to the mega rich, and it's just more crap, just like always. It's just more of the status quo. They get a blanket to print money like it's going out of style again, and whatever. The most ridiculous thing that's come out that the trucking world was all excited about, in my opinion, and I've avoided talking about this, is the where they made it a requirement that you know English to have a CDL. In my opinion, that was one of the most ridiculous things to ever come out. And the reason I feel that way is twofold. Number one, who's the arbitrator of what's good enough, right? I mean, it's anytime, first of all, anytime you're having the government decide things like that, it never ends well. And number two, who becomes the arbitrator of what's good enough? And that's not there's no standard for that. So it's just people deciding other people's fates. Number three, and more importantly, if I played a recording on this show right now of the English language, even 100 years ago, uh, people talking in English 100 years ago, most of us would have a hard time understanding what they're saying. If I played us English language that is 100 or 200 years old on this show, none of us would understand what was going on. We would barely be able to even barter with people that spoke like that and trade with them, let alone have a normal conversation. If we went back 300 years ago, we wouldn't even be able to trade with them. If we went back 400 years ago, it would be unintelligible to us at all. So language evolves all the time, right? So I've always thought that public school today teaching proper English is the most nonsensical thing I've ever heard, because language, just from the time I was born, I've been alive 46 years, has changed dramatically from when I was a little kid to the way that people speak now. In and it's going to continually change. 200 years from now, people have a hard time understanding this show. Or they probably wouldn't understand the show at all. That's how much language evolves over time, and it doesn't take very long to do it. 200 years from now, if someone comes back and watches this show, they probably wouldn't be able to understand what we're talking about. They would probably understand a lot of the words, but the way that we're stringing them together, the way that we pronounce them, is going to change. So I think it was just some pandering that they did there, and it's not going to change anything. The other thing you guys got to remember is it's not like it's going to get rid of thousands of drivers and all of a sudden it's going to make trucking better for everybody. I mean, how long does it take someone to learn English basic enough to be able to um, pass whatever tests that they have? It's not going to take them long, man, especially if they've already been living there. So they're living here. So I don't think all your ragheads and flip flops are going away anytime soon. That's just my opinion on it, but seafoam, I don't know what I think about seafoam. I have friends that swear by it, like for gasoline engines and stuff like that, but I don't know. I don't know if seafoam is all it's cracked up to be. What's the cost on an in-frame with coated pistons and bearings? The basic cost on an in-frame somewhere between 15 and 18,000 here. Um, depending on what you're doing to it. And to upgrade to a coated kit is 1,600. It's not a big deal. It's not that much. It's not so much speaking as much as it is reading the signs. Um, Again, that's all just arbitrary stuff, and I hate any time the government's involved in arbitrary nonsense. They'll people 200 years from now will only understand if we say yeah, bruh, LOL, BRB, TTYL. I mean, you're not wrong, Charlie. You're not wrong, right? I can barely understand my freaking sons. It's hilarious. If someone sends you stuff, can you ceramic coat it too? Absolutely. Right now we're selling any kit made by anyone for any engine. We will get it in here. It only adds 2 days to your total time. We'll code it and send it right back out to you. In fact, my son's coming here tomorrow to make some videos explaining that to people, 'cause I didn't do a very good job of explaining that. And if you do order a kit coded, we will pay for all the shipping, so it's free shipping. So if you add in paying for shipping and stuff, it's actually a really good deal. You're not getting charged very much to have a coded kit. Right now, the only factory coded kits are PAIs, and they have been backed up for quite some time. And they're going to be backed up for at least a little while longer. I happen to know everybody else's kids. That one looks just like me. And ours are going to drop here the first week of August. And so the company that coats those kits is all locked up coating our kits. They're trying to get them done so we can release them. And that is why PAI has not had coated kits in stock for several weeks. And they're telling everybody they're 4 to 8 weeks out before they have them again. Is because it's all being tied up by us. We took all the bandwidth, which is awesome. What's your favorite aftermarket overhaul kit brand? It kind of depends on what I'm doing. I really like all of them. Right now in the shop, there's 5 IPD kits. There's about 25 Interstate McBee kits, and there's about 15 PAI kits. And I have another kit I've never even heard of before. It's fuck, I can't even remember the brand. I have some kit I've never seen before, but I'm not worried about using it either. Can you explain how sodium levels in silicon? Can you explain how sodium levels in silicon after rebuild? Not really sure what question you're asking. How long do you think it'll be before people start coding differentials and transmissions? I highly doubt that's coming. Ceramic coatings do really well. In a heat environment. They're not really for a friction environment. The Teflon coatings I'm using right now would probably do okay in a gear application. It would probably hold up and last, but I can't really see too much what benefit it would give a gear. Yeah, I mean, you're talking a lot of work, and just not enough benefit to go along with it. The bearing application we use it for is a great application. We're going to start using it as well on valve stems on your cylinder heads. I think it'll come into its own there. But as far as using it for gears, I don't see it being practical enough to warrant anybody doing it. Did you work with Alaska West? I hauled stuff for Alaska West. Yep, I owned my own trucking company in Alaska. I hauled for Linden a lot, which Alaska West is owned by Linden. And so because I hauled as a PT owner operator for Linden, they would give me Alaska West loads a lot of times. So I hauled a lot of Alaska West trailers and a lot of Alaska West stuff, but I never worked for Alaska West. I did work with them, yes. Have you ever used FP diesel? It's the second time someone's asked me that tonight. I don't think I have. Have you tested the stretch on valves after coating them on the stems? We haven't coated any stems yet, but the product that I'm going to use for that was made for that, and it has been used extensively in the medium duty application. So I figure it'll be fine. I also have some coatings to coat the valve springs as well, just for looks. It's a ceramic polymer, so it can stretch. It won't actually help it with anything, but it will look cool. So I wanted to try that out just for fun. It won't be anything more than aesthetics, but anyway, guys, we're 30 minutes over here. I probably better get going. I do appreciate all you guys. I just wanted to hang out and hang out in the comment section, especially for the guys on TikTok. They always get the short end of the stick. If you had a C15 Acer in your truck, how many miles would you put on it before you rebuild it? Rebuilds really aren't as mileage centric as a guy would think. You really need to be doing oil samples and stuff like that and see what you come up with. It's not unheard of to get an engine in here that has way over 1 million miles on it. The most mileage I've ever seen, original miles on an engine, was 1.7. And if we were going by a rule of thumb of how many miles before you rebuild it, that guy would have probably rebuilt it twice, right? So it's not really a mileage centric thing. It's really a do good maintenance and monitor your engine with oil samples and stuff like that and keep on top of it to decide when you should rebuild it. Not, oh, well, I have 700,000 miles, it's time to rebuild it. In my opinion, and some, we rebuild a lot of engines for guys that just, and this happens a lot. It's probably almost a third of the time where people didn't actually need a rebuild yet, but it was a good time for them and they had us rebuild it. That's another school of thought. I don't disagree with that school of thought either. If you're in a position to be that way, I can tell you the guys that do that spend a hell of a lot less money than the guys that wait until they're just completely clapped out and everything has to be replaced. So there's two different ways to go about that. I'll answer one more question here. Probably need to get going. What's your opinion on AFA kits? I have never used an AFA kit. I know the owner of AFA. His name is Tony. We talk all the time. We went out to dinner a couple times. I actually talked to him today, believe it or not. He's a great guy. I have tested a bunch of their products because I was testing everybody's, and his products are great. I don't have any problem with if somebody wanted me to use an AFA kit here, no fucking problem. I'd put it in an engine, no problem. But I feel the same way about PAI and Interstate McBee and IPD. So there you go. I have no experience putting his kits in trucks. I don't know how they hold up. I see a lot of guys using them, but I think they're all in the same boat I'm in, where it's pretty a recent thing for them. I don't think you're going to find a whole lot of guys that have year-on-year experience using their stuff, but they have been around for a long time. In fact, a little back history with AFA. AFA used to be the guys that supplied the gaskets to everybody, like PAI, Interstate McBee. All those guys got all their gaskets from AFA. AFA owns multiple factories that just produce gaskets. That used to be what they did. And then AFA decided to start making their own product line to compete with these other guys. And they kind of messed up when they did that because they got shit on by all these other guys. And they all stopped buying their gaskets and outsourced the gaskets, trying to push them down and crush them. And they managed to survive that. But that is why, if you've ever wondered, well, how have they been around for so long? And they're so much farther down the totem pole as far as the game goes. That is why they had to overcome getting shit on by everybody, and crawl their way from the bottom. So that's kind of their story there. Anyway, guys, upcoming people we're planning on having on the show. The owner of Highway and Heavy Parts is planning on coming on here in the next week or so. Next week, we're going to have Tim from Excalibur Diesel on here. I think that's all I have lined up for right now. See if we can get some of these guys from the past back on here. Maybe some new guys. Maybe the worldwide guys want to come on, but they're good guys. They have some good insights on DD15s and stuff. We haven't really had anybody on the show that's a DD15 guy, so they might be fun. And of course, maybe we can get Charlie to come back on, hang out with us again. But anyway, you guys have a good night. I appreciate you. Appreciate everybody on here except for maybe that one dipshit, Iron Mike. That guy's Garen the Fox. So you guys have a good night. Love you long time. We'll see you next week.